Good morning, everyone. Can you able to hear my voice? The voice is audible. Okay. Thanks for your confirmation. Now, today we'll start the session. Before I start the session, let me just recap what we have discussed yesterday. So, yesterday, what we have discussed, what we have discussed, I'll speak a little bit loudly now. Is it okay now? Okay. So, yesterday, what we have discussed, storage management. Yes, we discussed storage means what? Where we can store our data. So generally, where we'll store our data on the hard disk. So to manage the hard disk, we need to create what? Partitions. But if you create a partition, your data will become safe if your OS get corrupted. But what about the OS? If your whole hard disk get corrupted, then your whole data will be lost. So how do you prevent this? The data should not be lost even if your hard disk get failed. How to prevent it? We used yesterday one technology. What is the technology? Yes, RAID. So what? RAID. So with the help of the RAID it is technology where we'll store our data not in single hard disk. Because if you do the storage in single hard disk, if that hard disk get failed means the data will be lost. So to overcome this, what we will do? We'll apply the RAID on multiple hard disks. So depending upon the RAID levels, we have to take the minimum number of hard disks. So like we discussed, to apply the RAID, we can use RAID level 0 for which we require two minimum hard disk. RAID level 1 for that we require two hard disk minimum, and RAID level 5 which requires minimum three hard disks. So the data will be stored in multiple hard disks. So if one of the hard disks get failed, you will not lose the data in RAID level 1 and 5. But in RAID level 0, it will be lost. But the performance will be very good in the RAID level 0. So how to configure that we have discussed. That is related with what? Yesterday's session. Now coming to today's session, like as I informed you yesterday, today onwards we'll discuss MCSE also as well as the Linux. First hour I'll take the Windows remaining topic because certain 3 to 4 topics are pending, are remaining. So that I'll complete within 2 3 days. Then after that we'll have Linux till the 14th. But simultaneously today onwards we'll also proceed with what? Linux. Today first we will discuss what? Virtualization using the Hyper-V. Uh, this is a small concept, small topic. Once this is finished, we'll go to the Linux part today, the Linux operating system. So this is what we are going to discuss in today's session. So let me start our today's session with what? Virtualization. So what do you mean by virtualization? Yes, have you heard this term virtualization? Virtualization means what? Please keep your mic in good position. Just a minute, I'll check. Yes. Virtualization means what? I'm getting multiple answers. Yes, yes, I got the answer like dividing the device into multiple virtual machines. Yes, Somebody saying duplicate, create duplicate space in the existing. Direct interaction, somebody said. Okay. Yes, what you are saying is correct. Generally, virtualization is a what? It's a technology. It's a technology where we can install or configure multiple virtual machine in a single physical machine. Why we are doing this? Is there any advantage or benefit with that? Inside a one physical machine, we are creating multiple virtual machine. Why? Why we are doing like this? So we are dividing virtually what our hard disk, which is present in your physical machine, into number of partitions. From there, we can create what in one partition, one virtual machine. In that virtual machine, we can install which OS? Any OS. So this is what called virtualization. So what is the main advantage with the virtualization? Why we are doing this? Why we are doing this virtualization? I repeat once again, the virtualization is what? A technology which is used to run or configure multiple machines or multiple instances, it is called, in a physical machine. But why we are doing this? Why we are installing multiple virtual machines in a physical server or in physical machine? What is the benefit or advantage with that? Is there any advantage with that? Yes, the main advantage is what? Use our resources to maximum efficiency. So that one of the most important advantage is what? Reducing the cost factor. Yes. So suppose, yes, we can access all the machine at the same time, and our all our expenses will be reduced, and we can use our hardware to a maximum or efficient extent, very efficiently. Like so suppose I'm running multiple services. So in some cases, I need to run one particular service in one machine in the real time, because the users might be many. So I'm running, say, suppose one machine, the IIS. In one machine, I'm running, say, suppose DSCP. One machine, I'm running my ADDS, the DC. So like this, I'm running some important service in multiple machines. If I configure all this thing in a single machine, you can do it, but the load increases at the same time. At the same time, what happens? In some cases, you need to configure some, like the hospitals, but in some different machines. So if you are configuring them different machine, so like suppose I have four different services that need to be run in four machines. Then I need four CPUs, I need four monitor, I need four uh, like different set of cables to connect them. Then I need also the space to keep them. So I need a separate electricity for them. Then I need in separate machines, what? Separate memory, separate RAM, separate processor. Everything is required. So with this, I can effectively manage all these things by using one single machine with very high configuration. In that, as per my requirement, I can create separate, separate, separate services in separate virtual machines. And in this separate machine, I can use only one OS, single OS, or multiple OS I can use in a single physical machine through the virtualization. Multiple OS, depending upon my requirement, I can install different OS. Now we can take this simple example to now everybody nowadays is talking about the cloud technology. So generally, cloud means what? How do you define a cloud? Cloud means what? Your storage is present in data center. Your storage is not present in your own premises or in your own location. That might be present in the data center, and that data center might be maintained or provided by some vendors. Like in the cloud, there are three major vendors who are providing you the cloud support, like AWS, Azure, Google. So these are the major players. So that data will be stored in not your premises, in some data centers, which will be provided by the some vendors, like I told you, AWS, Azure, Google. So this complete storage will be done by using the internet in some remote places, and there you don't have to maintain your own any like uh, your own physical servers. Everything will be provided to you by the service provider. So suppose you require certain services. So based on your certain requirement, they'll configure for you what your setup in what virtual machine. What are the services you require? They'll configure in that. So they'll give you one one virtual machine to you. Now we are not only using that resources. So somebody like me might be from my city or from other city or from other part of the world. They might be requiring different set of requirements. So for that, this vendor will create one more machine. Whatever the services they require, they'll configure. They'll monitor it. They'll maintain it. So my cost factor are also reduced. I don't have to bother about maintaining all those things. So in that, in the cloud, they use many technology. One of the important technology they use is what? Virtualization. Depending upon the user requirement, they'll create one virtual machine which OS they want. Based on that, they'll create it and they'll provide the required services. And maintenance they'll look after. They'll charge us. Still, that charges will be very less compared to the other. That's why now, yes, pay and use it. So there also, which technology is very important? Virtualization. So today we are focusing on which technology? Virtualization. So virtualization basically is what? It is technology in which we can run multiple instances. It's called instances. Instances is nothing but virtual machines. In that virtual machine, we can use any OS as per our requirement, so that to reduce the cost factor. So that can be done with the cloud, as well as same thing you can also use in your own company. Suppose your company is not taking the cloud, they are maintaining different services. So that has been configured on different machine. So instead of all this, what you can do, you can have a good high-end one physical machine. In that you can create multiple machines. In that one machine, you can provide one service to your own private user or to your own local users within your domain. So it can be done over the private network as well as in the public network. But the concept is same. If you want to use different services through different machines, instead of using those different machines, which will increase our cost factor to very large extent, we can reduce it by using the technology called virtualization. So I hope you understood the importance of virtualization. Yes. So for virtualization also different vendors are there. So virtualization is been provided by using some application. So different vendors are there. They are providing their own different application through which we'll use same concept, dividing our physical machine into multiple virtual machines, in which we can install any OS as per our requirement and can configure our required services. So can you just give me one or two names of the virtualization through which I can? Virtualization is provided by using some application. So can you give me some application name through which I can apply the virtualization? Yes, I got one name. Commonly used name is what? VMware. Cloud is different. Azure is different. Azure is what? It's a cloud service provided by the Microsoft. Yes. VMware is one of them. VirtualBox is there. Yes. These are the commonly used application. Same way we have Hyper-V. Hyper-V is designed by the Microsoft people, which will be present from the Microsoft server operating system. So we are going to focus now how to create virtual machine using the hypervisor. because hypervisor is the application which has been given by the Microsoft people from their own server. It is present in what? Client or server OS? Yes, it will be there in the server OS, not in the client OS. So our today's session is about virtualization. And virtualization we are going to implement today by using which application? Hypervisor. So like this, different vendors also have their own application, like VMware, VirtualBox. Yes. So this virtualization concept was introduced by whom? Any idea? First, who has introduced this virtualization? Anybody, any idea? Virtualization concept was introduced in 1969 or 70 by the first time it was introduced by IBM. It is introduced by IBM. Most of the people, 1969 and 70, 69, 70, they introduced what? The first time is virtualization by the IBM company. Now, today, most of the market virtualization is covered by three companies, three vendors. VMware is the leader. Now, second is what? The third one is what? VirtualBox. These are the most commonly used application for virtualization. We are going to focus in today's session. It is 6970. As far I have seen, IBM introduced the virtualization in 1969 and 70. Now, we'll focus on what? Hyper-V. So we have completed up to this. Today I'm starting with what are the topics left out. WDS will do tomorrow. Then the routing has been removed because earlier it was what? 30 days. But now we added also the Linux. So this topic is not there. So uh, life supply is also not there. So only two. How many topics is remaining? If I exclude today topic, three topics. WDS, RAS means VPN, the backup and recover. So these are the three topics are pending. Apart from that, all topics are being completed. Now we'll go to the which one? Today hypervisor. So tomorrow I'll take what? The VPN or the WDS. Then one small topic will be pending. That is the live setup will be there, like configuration of all server at one time. So this used to be do when the course used to be what? 30 days. But now it has been made. Linux also been added. So even offline session we are not showing this. That is nothing but repetition. We used to configure all servers in one machine, and we used to access DNS, DSCP, IIS, WDS at same time. But that has been removed. Live setup and routing. In place of that, they added what? The Linux, basic Linux. Okay. So now routing means like NAS they used to show you. Now this completely you can learn in the Cisco course. Here we used to discuss software routing by using two machines and using what? The NAS. But now it has been removed and you will be discussing this complete concept in 1 month course, CCN. Okay. So now I'm focusing on which topic today? Hypervisor. So we are focusing on what? Windows hypervisor application. So hypervisor is a application which is used for this hypervisor is the hardware virtualization role that is available in Windows Server 2012. Before this, it was available, but we need to download that hypervisor application from the internet. Then we can use that. But nowadays, from 2012 onwards, they are giving this application hypervisor inbuilt with the 2012. So here in the virtualization, we have two types of virtualization. They are called bare metal virtualization. They are called bare metal virtualization. And the other one is called what? Hosted virtualization. So what is the difference between bare metal virtualization and hosted virtualization? I repeat once again for the benefit of everybody. Virtualization means what? It is a technology in which we can create multiple machines in a single physical server, and in that virtual machines we can install any OS as per our requirement. I'm starting the Linux today only. After the Hyper-V class. Yes. Uh, One more important thing. So before the virtualization, what the people or what we were using, any technology was there, anything was there before the virtualization? With the virtualization, what we are doing? We are installing multiple OS. Yes. So before this, what we were using before the virtualization? Anybody, any idea? Any OS means you can install Linux, Windows, Mac, any OS you can install the virtual machine which will create. Now we are using virtualization to install different OS or multiple OS. Yes, very nice. I got one answer. Before this virtualization, we used to use what? Dual booting. So what is the difference between dual booting and virtualization? In dual booting also you can install different OS. In virtualization also you can install different OS. But is there any difference between dual booting and virtualization? Concept is same, but any difference is there or there is no difference? Ah, I got some answers from one our friend. The RAM is very accurate and very simple. It's very easy to understand. That's what I was trying to explain you. So in the dual booting, how many virtual machines are how many OS we can install at one time? Only two. Only two OS. The name indicate what? Dual booting. So in the dual booting process, we can install maximum how many OS? Only two OS. Can be same OS or two different OS. And it was using directly the resources of our hardware directly from the motherboard. So suppose if one of the OS get problem, the other OS also will get affected. That is the one drawback with the dual booting. Second problem, in the dual booting, you can use only one machine at one time. Suppose I have installed in dual booting two different OS, in one Windows, in one Linux. So if I'm using the Windows, I cannot use Linux. If I'm using the Linux, I cannot use the Windows. But these problems have been overcome in the virtualization technology. That's why now nobody is using dual booting. We are using virtualization. So main advantage with the virtualization, first, we can using the virtualization, we can have multiple OS, multiple machines, multiple machine. There is no limit like two. We can have more than two, multiple. If your hardware is good, maximum you can go for what? 1024 maximum. So we can have different multiple OS. First advantage. Second advantage in virtualization. Suppose if one your problem you got in the one of the virtual machine, it doesn't affect your physical machine. It doesn't affect your physical machine. And if one problem occurs in one virtual machine, it doesn't affect the physical machine as well as the other virtual machine. This is the another benefit. In the dual booting, if one of the OS get corrupted or any problem occurs, it will affect the other. And the third advantage is here, simultaneously you can work on different virtual machines by using different OS simultaneously. There only one at one time. Here we can run or work on different virtual machines at the same time. Yes, with the virtualization. So which is a better option now? You only tell me, dual booting or virtualization? Dual booting. Yes. Or virtualization. Which one is better? Virtualization. Yes. compared to the dual booting, virtualization is better. That's why you will find virtualization is being used more commonly. So I was just trying to explain you how many types of virtualization we have. Two types of virtualization. What they are called? Bare metal and hosted virtualization. So how many types of virtualization you have? Two types of virtualization we have. Types of virtualization. Types of virtualization. This virtualization is been categorized into two types. It can be called as what? Bare metal. Can be called as what? Bare metal. The other one is called hosted. Bare metal virtualization and hosted virtualization. So what is the difference between this bare metal and hosted virtualization? So bare metal means what? The virtualization, the virtualization, the virtualization virtualization is done or which is done or implemented directly on directly on directly on the hardware, which is done directly on the hardware means I'm creating virtual machine directly on the my hardware physical machine directly without using any application without using any application or operating system. If I'm doing that, then that is called bare metal virtualization. So bare metal virtualization means virtualization which is done directly on the hardware, so without using any operating system, then that is called bare metal virtualization. Second one is what? Opposite of that. So this is called hosted. So this has been done. This hosted of virtualization is done by using what? The operating system. So first, in the physical machine, we need to install some operating system. On that on that operating system, we will install some application. Some application. We'll install what? Some application like what are the application we can install? VMware, VirtualBox, VirtualBox, or hypervisor. So these are called what? Hosted virtualization, which is been done on the operating system. But here, bare metal means which is directly done directly on the hardware. So performance wise, which virtualization will be better, bare metal or hosted? Performance wise, which will be better? Bare metal, yes. As somebody said here, an example somebody has given, I'll just go through that. So in the what is the problem in the hosted is that if suppose your virtual machine get problem, that will not affect. But let's suppose your physical machine get affected. Your physical machine got affected, then we will lose all your virtual machine. Yes, if the physical OS got corrupted, then all your this. So this problem can be overcome like yesterday we have discussed the RAID. So if you are using the physical RAID, there are two types of RAID: hardware RAID and software. So what we have discussed is software RAID. But in the real time, they will use what on the servers? Hardware RAID. So hardware RAID is implemented by using the RAID controller card. The configuration part which we have discussed will be same, but that will be done on an application. iSCSI. So they will be using what? The RAID controller card, which will be configured with what? iSCSI. So then if you have done that, then what will happen? You will have not one machine, two or different machine. So you can able to retrieve it from the other machine. That is one option. Or whenever you are using this uh, virtualization on a physical machine, that backup of that physical machine also you can take it in some other machine. So these are the two options. So you can overcome this problem either by using RAID or taking the backup of the machine, physical machine. Okay, understood? Okay. So now you tell me which virtualization we'll be discussing now, bare metal or hosted? Which one we are going to focus now in our today's session? Hosted, yes, hosted, not the bare metal. So performance-wise, bare metal will be better. But our main focus is what? How to configure the virtual machine. So that we can do by using the hosted virtualization. How to create the virtual machines. Our focus will be on that. Okay. So now we'll be focusing on what? Now the slide. So like here, virtualization. This is available. Hyper-V virtualization we are discussing through which vendor? Microsoft. So Microsoft is giving inbuilt application called hypervisor. It's an application. So that has been available directly from Windows 2012 operating. Previously, this concept was there, but we need to install hypervisor application from the internet. But now it is coming inbuilt. So here, this will support, Hyper-V will support both bare metal virtualization as well as the hosted virtualization. So here it is given same point. Hardware virtualization provide virtual machine directly access to the virtual servers hardware. So this is your bare metal, and we have another type of virtualization that is called software or hosted virtualization, such as we can use that application and we can install that application on the operating system, so which will provide indirect access to the server hardware. So this is with the help of the operating system means we are using the resources but indirectly. But if you use the bare metal means directly you are using the resources of your hardware. Here you will provide to the software virtualization or hosted, you will provide the RAM also. But you will provide with the help of what? Operating system. Indirectly. In the software virtualization, we can create any number of machines, yes, but that depends on the availability of your free space of the hard disk. Then the RAM. And if you create more and more, your processor is also space will be consumed, so become less speed will get affected. To run one server OS in one virtual machine, minimum how much RAM you require? Minimum 1 GB. Recommended is 1 GB. They'll tell 512 you can use, but at that time that server OS will be very slow. So recommended minimum is what? 1 GB. Any example for bare metal will come now. Here it will be there. Right? Just wait a 5 minutes. So please, those who are interested, take a snapshot or the photo of this. Then I'll show you the next slide. Whenever you install any virtual machine, you require hardware like processor, memory, hard disk space. Okay, can I go to the next slide? Yes. So here the example is given here. So we have two types of virtualization: bare metal, which is called as what? Hyper-V. Directly you can install the virtual machine or virtual instance directly on the hardware which is provide you the very tough, robust and tough service. So it is used in the production server, generally in the real time. So the company who is providing this bare metal is what? Hyper-V. The name is same. In the VMware, they are using what? vSphere name. And the Citrix is using what name? Zen server. These are the company name. These are the bare metal virtualization. Yes. I go to the next page now. This is related with what? Bare metal virtualization. Now we can see the next type. What is the next type? Hosted, or it is also called software based virtualization. So it will be slow little bit compared to that. So you can use for the lab purpose as well as testing purpose. The company name is what? Microsoft using what? Virtual servers. Then in the VMware workstation, Oracle is using VirtualBox. But in Windows, instead of saying virtual servers, we are using the name hypervisor because through that application we are doing it. So that application is directly there with the operating system. So that's why you are using the name hypervisor. Yes, read on this. Yes, something like I told you the rate controller card, something like that card will be present. Implement is virtualization, which we need to purchase. They are not free. Yes, it will be connected with the board. The software is generally software virtualization is free, but the hardware virtualization or bare metal you need to purchase. It's something like a card, it will be available, which will need to be connected directly to your mother. Now, is it done? Whether it is done, can I go to the next slide? Yes. No, no. Directly without that, you cannot use. You have to use that. If you don't want to use the card, the other option is software virtualization. You can use. As far I know, there is no other source. Okay. Next, what are the hardware requirements for virtual instance? So first of all, your processor should be supporting what? 64-bit architecture. And It should be nowadays. Previously, we used to check from going to the taskbar, virtualization support is there on the processor or not. But now, when you talk about this i3 or from the I series processor, all I processor will have default support for virtualization. So previously, in the old cases, we have to check virtualization support is there or not. But nowadays, all your processor coming with what virtualization support. In some cases, it might be disabled, so you have to go to the BIOS and enable it. It will be there, but it might be in disable mode. The first condition, your processor should be supporting 64 architecture, and also same time should support the virtualization. Then only you can create the virtual machines. First condition. Second condition is that if you are going for this is for going for the software virtualization, you should have enough space, enough RAM, then only you can create the virtual machine. So when I'm talking about CPU capacity means it is related with my RAM, my hard disk space, apart from the processor. So virtual machine hosted on the IBM can support up to how many processors? 64 processors. Yes, done. Everybody. Okay, I'll go to the next now. Is related with more what? These three things. So if you want to install the virtual machine, you need to look for three things: your processor, hard disk space, and the RAM. These are the three most important factors on which the creation or the speed of your virtual machine depends. So to install any virtual machine, your RAM should be minimum how many? 4 GB minimum. If you have the 8 GB, okay. Somebody requested for the previous slide. Just wait. I came to the previous slide now. Yes, done. Okay. Next. So next important after processor is what? Hard disk. Anyhow, you are getting lot of space. Next important thing is what? The RAM. So if you have suppose created two virtual machines, so for two virtual machine you need to provide two different uh, compulsory 1 GB of RAM to one virtual machine, another machine another 1 GB RAM. But one important thing you remember, suppose I have 4 GB RAM, so I have suppose install four virtual machine. Can I install? Yes. But four I cannot run simultaneously. Maybe two machines I can run simultaneously. So if I create four or five virtual machine, it doesn't consume the resources unless until you open that virtual machine. Remember. So when you create the virtual machine, whatever resources you will give, that will consume only once you open that virtual machine. So if I have 4 GB RAM also, I can create 10 virtual machines, but 10 I cannot open simultaneously. In the virtualization, we can do it, but my RAM has to be. So if I'm opening one at one time or two at one time, I can able to work with 4 GB or 8 GB. But if you want, you can open two also, no problem. So here, most important factor is what? The processor, and the next one is what? RAM. So if suppose another important point you can remember. So in virtual machine, you have installed suppose server, Windows Server 2012. So that it can support maximum up to how much RAM in virtual machine? 1 TB. But if I'm using the same operating system, Windows 2000 Server, which is installed directly on a physical machine, Configuration is same, but in virtual machine, it will support maximum RAM how much? 1 terabyte. But same thing, if I do on the physical machine, same configuration, it will support what? 4 TB. This is one point you have to remember. So physical will support more hardware compared to the virtual. But physical machine with server OS 2012 can support up to maximum how much RAM? 4 TB. But the server OS 2000, which is installed in virtual machine, it can support to RAM up to how much maximum? 1 terabyte. That is 4 terabyte. This is 1 terabyte. So what are the hardware requirements we have discussed? First important is what? The processor. Then next one is what? The RAM. Now the hard disk you can provide from the SAN or SSD that we have discussed yesterday. What are the three most important factors on which creation of our hard virtual machines depend? One is processor that we have discussed here. Second one is what? Second one is what? The RAM. Second one is the RAM. Done. Now the third one is what? The hard disk. Now you can do that by using virtual hard disk also, like we have done yesterday by creating the virtual hard disk. And in this, we can also use three types of switches that you will discuss if you go for the separate course called virtualization. But I'll just give the idea. While using the virtualization, you can create in the virtualization three types of switches. One is what? External. External means what? It will provide the connectivity external switch. This option will be there to create the switch. So this thing you can learn in detail through a separate course called virtualization. But just for your information purpose, one idea I'll give, these three types of switch will be there external. So when you create an external switch, it will connect your VM to VM machine and also to the physical machine. So external will create what? Connectivity or establish the connection between VM to VM machine as well as the physical machine. So all your VM machine as well as all your VM machines can communicate with your physical machine. Our physical machine can communicate with your all VM machine at the same time with external switch. Another type of switch is there which is called internal. In this, if you create an internal switch, it will communicate only to the VM, one VM to one physical machine. So it will communicate between what? Virtual machine and the host machine. But it will not communicate between virtual machine to virtual machine. Internal. It will communicate only between the virtual machine to the host machine. But not between the virtual machine to virtual machine. Remember. The last one is what? Private. So if you create a private virtual switch, then it will ensure the communication between virtual machines, between VM to VM, but it will not communicate with the host. Now you tell me, these three types of switch, which switch will be better to configure if you are configuring external, because it will provide connectivity VM to VM as well as with the host. That is your physical machine. If you go with internal, only from VM machine to the host, but not between VM to VM. Private, only VM to VM, but not host. This is the difference. So which one is easy to create or which one you should create, how to create, you'll learn in your VMware. How to connect them also you can learn in the separate course. Our focus today is what? How to create a virtual machine through the hypervisor. That we will do today. But if you want, you can create the virtual switch. Option will be there. So with this, we are done with today's theory part. Now I'll show you the practical. So please take the snapshot of this. Then we'll start with the practical. So remember what are the hardware requirements important? Hard disk, RAM, and processor. And if you want the connectivity between VM to VM and to the physical machine also, you can create the external switch. We have three types of switch option. To create the switch, virtual switch, it is not physical switch, virtual switch. So using the hypervisor, we can have option to create three types of switch. So this is the three different. What is the difference between these three types of switch? It is mentioned here, and I explained it also. So when you have to create a virtual switch, which switch you should create always? External. And we will start with the practical now. You are done with this. We will start with the practical. Okay, done everybody. We will start with the practical. Now, to do this practical, to do some setup. I did not do before the session started because I want to show you this setup so that you can follow this. Now we are discussing which practical virtualization using hypervisor. So for installing the hypervisor in your laptop, you have to do some setup. What is that setup? I have mentioned there because already in my physical machine, which is Windows client operating system, in my case Windows 10, on that I install already VMware because VMware is easy to work on it with more features. But we are discussing our course how to create virtual machine using the hypervisor. So now already one VM application is running in my machine. Now I'm trying to install the virtual machine using the hypervisor. So by default, two virtual applications like VirtualBox or Hyper-V or VMware cannot run. But if you want to run two simultaneously application like Hyper-V or VMware, then you need to do some settings. What is the setting I mentioned here? If you have only like suppose hypervisor in your you created your this virtual machine using the hypervisor by system 1 and system 2, then there is no need to create this setting. But I used VMware to install my server OS. Already one VM I'm using. Now in that server OS I'm trying to install hypervisor. So two applications simultaneously I'm trying to use. So it will not allow me unless until I do some setting. So what is that setting I mentioned here? So what is that setting we have to do is that to go to your system one, that is the VM machine, which is our DC. So you just power off that machine first. Then you go to I install that VM machine in which drive? Suppose E drive. So I should go to the E drive. Then open that from that uh, open the E drive. From there I can find my system one. My DC name is what? System one. So I given what name? System one VM. So if I open that E drive, I can find one file in system one VM machine with a white color file. Three white file will be there with white color. Three white file will be there in white in color. So that I need to open with what? Notepad file. And I need to write these three lines. These three lines I need to write at the end of that. Then it will support what? The other application. So I'll show you practically, you will understand this. So I already shared this thing with our practical step 5 in the virtualization. Same thing you can do. Same thing I'm doing. See here. I'll show you practically so that you can understand. So my virtual machines here. This is my virtual machine. So I'm using this virtual machine, this one. So I should not power on this. So this virtual machine, I given the space from the E drive. I given it from the E drive. So you can see here in the settings. E drive. So my ISO image is in the D drive, but I've given the space of 30 GB, something like that, from the 40 GB from the E drive. So what should I do? I'll go to the E drive now. This machine should not be power on. Remember, it should be power off. Then go to this main machine from my E drive. While creating the machine will give the space now. So I've given this. So this my machine name is what? This machine. So open it. So you can find this white color. Can you find here white color three files? Three files are there which is in white color. So that file you need to open to provide the support for Hyper-V, because already I'm working with what VMware. Is it okay now, everybody? Can you see that file? So you open that file. So when you double click, it will not open. So what you have to do, as I told you, it should be open with what? It should be open with what? Notepad. So right click here, then you say here, open with Notepad. Open with a Notepad. So this something is written in this file. So don't do any changes to this existing thing. Otherwise your OS may get corrupted. Go to the last line. Go to our practical. Go to our practical step file. Just you copy these last three lines. I written here. Go to the last line. After this, write this. Instead of writing this, you can simply copy these three lines. By using Control C, you copy and go to our file now. Go to our file. Which file I open now? This one. Go to the last line and paste it. How to paste it? Control V. So these three lines have been added here. See here. What are the three lines we have added? Hypervisor dot CPU ID dot V0 is equal to false. Capital letter. Case sensitive. MCE dot enable is equal to true. VHV means virtualization enable is equal to true. So now it will support. Save and exit this file. How to save? Control S. Now your machine will support, even your machine 2012 server is installed on VMware. Now that 2012 will support installing hypervisor. So this is the thing we have to do. So now is it clear to everyone? Is it okay now? Yeah. Thanks for your confirmation. Now we can open the file now. Sorry, we can open our virtual machine now. It will support. Already I think it is open. Now I'll go to my here. This machine I made the changes. Now I can open this machine and it will provide me with what? Now let me go to this. It will provide me the support for installing the hypervisor. If I don't do that, it will, when When you try to install, it will give you the error. That error it will be showing. You cannot install something like multiple OS. You have to remove the VMware like that. It will show. So you can keep your VMware plus you can use the Hyper-V. Now I log in as an administrator. So what are the steps we need to do for today's practical? You can see from the practical file. I've done the changes now. Now my machine is ready. My machine is ready for the practical. So these are the steps I need to do. So now go to the system one. With that machine should be DCR member server. Open the server manager console. Now install first the hypervisor service. How to install the hypervisor service? Same procedure. Click on add roles and features. Click on next 3 times. Then check the box. Which box? Hypervisor. Add the features. Next 5 times. Then install yes. So it will ask for restart. You restart it. So this is the first thing we have to do in today's practical. After making the changes in that file, then only it will support. Now it will get installed. After installing it, we can create the virtual machine. So how to create the virtual machine? In VMware you already know. So I'll show you today how to create the virtual machine in the hypervisor. So this is our practical. Short practical. Now let me go to this machine. First I'll install it what? Server OS. Sorry. I'll first install the service called hypervisor. Now see here. In this machine, the service called hypervisor is installed. Whether the service called hypervisor is installed? No, it is not installed. So now I'll install it. It is not installed. So I'll install it. How to install it? Go to the same process. Click on add roles and features. Add roles and features. Click on next 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then go with what? A service called hypervisor. You can check the box. Then it will ask, do you want to add the features? Yes. Then go for next 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, just check this box. Restart is optional. It will not restart. Restart is mandatory. It will restart. Then install. Now this service will get installed and the system, if it is required, it will restart automatically. Now, after this, we need to create the virtual machine. So for this creating the virtual machine, what I need to do is here, I need to copy my ISO image in my E drive. Then open this server manager console. Open that what? Hyper-V service from the tools. Then right click on my system name. Then click on new. Then I will get an option to create what? Virtual machine. Then next name, virtual machine name, anything. Then next RAM size. You should give minimum 1 GB. Next, select the OS. Then select the OS from the DVD. Select the ISO image by browsing. I'll show you how to create the virtual switch. Then click on open next. Right click on VM machine. Click on connect. Then you can do the installation. So what is the first thing I should do? Go to my DC machine. Now it is getting restarted. Now my machine is ready. A minute, it is getting started. So now finally machine is ready. I'll log in as administrator now. Now it is ready now. What I'll do, I'll log in as administrator. We will have to first copy the ISO image. So I'll just go to the machine here. I have here E drive something like this. So I'll just format this. I'll copy the ISO image in my E drive. This yesterday we have created for the storage management. So here my ISO image is somewhere here. So first I need to copy the ISO image. Right? I copy it. I'll be pasting it into my this machine inside the E drive. while it is copying, we'll create what? One virtual machine. We'll create the one virtual machine. So how to create the virtual machine? I already shown you the step. Once again, you can check it. How to create the virtual machine now? Copy the IS image which I have done here. Open the server, this hypervisor application from the tools. Right click on the system name. You will find what? New virtual machine. Then next, you give any name to your virtual machine. Then give the RAM size. Then next, install the OS. Then you select here what? Where you copied the IS image. Browse. Finished. Over. Virtual machine is created. In VM we have what? Power on. Here it have given what? Select that machine, right click, connect on. Now you can start the installation of this server 2012 as you have done the first time. Sorry, first day you have done, no? Same way you can proceed. Yes, same process. Now the ISO image is about to get copied. Now see here, my ISO image is ready. What I'll do, open the server manager console, create first virtual machine. You know how to create virtual machine in VMware. Now we'll do it through the hypervisor. Now open the hypervisor application from the tools. Go to the tools. Go to the tools. Here you will find Hyper-V Manager. You first expand your select here what system one. So no virtual machines are there. We'll create. Select right click here. New virtual machine. Then next virtual machine name. Anything you can give. VM one I'm giving. Next. It should give the RAM how much? 1 GB. But I'm working on 4 GB RAM. Already after creating the virtual machines, my free space left out is only 512. So I'm giving something like 400. Next, next. Now here, where I kept the ISO image that I need to do. So I created the in my what E drive of this machine. E drive. This might be my physical machine. Not showing. Let me check one. I'm checking whether it is or not. Right? Image is there. Just 1 minute. I'll just hit the space. We open the virtualization again. Then create a virtual machine. How to create a virtual machine? New virtual machine. Click on next. Do any name of your choice. I'm giving this VM1. Next. I'm giving RAM size how much? I have only 400, 500, so I've given 400. Next. Next. Then I'm browsing. Next. Now install it. Now this is the space I will taken where this OS will be installed. C drive. Now I'm installing what? OS, operating system from this. So where I kept the ISO image, I'm doing from the ISO image. Now you can browse the ISO image. So I kept my ISO image where in E drive. I can select here, give the path. See here. This is the thing it is asking where you will install this VM machine. VM machine will take the space in my location from where C drive. Okay. And go to the next. I already shown you. I'm doing with what ISO image. Next. Then finish. So virtual machine will be created. So now you can find here one virtual machine is created. It is what? Off position. So it is like power on, power off. So in VMware we are doing power on. Here it is what? Connect. But before that somebody asked me how to create the virtual switch. Select the this. Now you have the option. Virtual switch. Here three options will be there. External, private, internal. So you go with what? External. Okay. One switch will be created. External switch. Here you can see virtual switch manager. Created. Okay. Create the virtual switch. Right? Okay. Switch has been created. So this is the easy way to create the external switch. Understood now? So now let me show you what. Let me show you how to install the OS. Now machine is ready. How to install? First power on. Here it is what? Connect. Now you turn on. How you will turn it? The options will be here. Start. But I cannot install the OS because it need minimum 512, but I'm having 400. So this is the way to install it. So if you have 1 GB, you can proceed with the installation. I shown you already how to install the Linux OS. Same, because the machine is having only how much RAM you can see, only 4 GB. So in that, I'm already installing VMware. In that, I already using what? That I already using what? Two VM machines. My RAM is how much? You see, 4 GB. That's why it is showing insufficient. Okay, clear? So you know now how to create it. We already done with what? How to install the OS. So just I shown you the how to create the virtual machine also and how to proceed with the installation. Is it okay, everybody? Yes, understood this process now? So this is how you will create a virtual machine and install any OS of your choice through the hypervisor. So with this, we are done with today's session as per the MCSE. So now we will start today onwards what? The other part of our course, that is Linux. So today we'll just see the introduction. If time is there, I'll show the installation. Otherwise, tomorrow. Okay. So first we'll proceed with what? Introduction of the Linux. Yes. Once the installation is done, we can run any service. Hyper-V, anything. We can. So is it okay up to this, everybody? Or any doubt related with the what topic we have discussed today, hypervisor? Any doubt? Yes, anybody, any doubt? Yes, you can ask that doubt. See, suppose VM is not there. So VM, hypervisor, virtualbox, these are the multiple options. So we know how to do it from VMware. Suppose in your company, they are using only hypervisor. They are not applying the third-party application. At that time, you can use this. So options will be little bit different. The process remains same. So how you will do it on hypervisor, I show you because it is a part of our course. Okay, we use anyone. The process will vary. So configuration part will be little bit here and there difference. Okay, so can I start with the Linux now? Okay. Now today we'll discuss what introduction. If time is there, I'll show the installation. Otherwise, the installation will proceed tomorrow. Now we will proceed with what? Today's session will proceed with what? Linux. what is our today's session? Focus first on introduction. If time is there, we'll go to the install. Introduction of Linux. So any idea about what is Linux? Yeah, I got one answer. It's command line, something like this. Yes, that is not the correct answer. Command line. Linux is what? First of all, Linux is what? First of all, yes, that is the answer I was looking for. Operating system. Like Windows, it is also an operating system. So, but it is which type of operating system? Linux. Like Windows, people generally say GUI based operating system. So somebody says CLI based. So it is not true for Linux. CLI based operating system was Unix, not Linux. So Linux also provides you what? The graphical option. But we mostly work with the Linux through command because security, faster performance. So yes, somebody written that is the correct word we should use for the Linux. It is an open source operating system. So what is the term you should use for the Linux? Open source. Open source operating system. What is open source operating system? I'll tell you. So today we are discussing what? Introduction of Linux. So if somebody asks you what is Linux means, you should say it is an open source operating system, or you can also say technically it is a kernel. Okay? Kernel is a main part of the OS. So Linux is what? It's an open source. So what is open source? I'll tell you after a few minutes. Then this operating system is based on what? Like Windows operating system is designed on. Windows operating system is designed on. Windows operating system is designed by Microsoft using what? It is based on this micro sorry Windows operating system designed by the Microsoft using what? They developed it based on. Yes, I'm getting many answers. Okay, correct answer I was looking for was, you have given so many answers, but the correct answer is what? Is based on DOS. The question was the Windows operating system designed by the Microsoft. It has been designed based on DOS. So it is designed on what? DOS. So same way, Linux is an also operating system. So this operating system is designed based on Linux is designed based on Linux is a kernel. So this kernel is designed based on, yes, that is the correct answer, Unix. So remember, Windows is designed using the DOS, or Windows is developed by using DOS. Same way, Linux is designed or developed by using Unix. What is Unix? What is Unix? Unix is a command-based operating system. What is Unix? Unix is a command-based operating system. Our introduction part, our first part is what? History of history of Unix. So why we are discussing the Unix? Our course is Linux, but why we are discussing Unix? Because Linux has been designed from Unix. So we should know what is Unix. So Unix history. So Unix is an operating system. So to design this, which type of operating system? Command based. you should say this to the Unix, not to the Linux. So Unix is a command-based operating system. So to design this operating system, a project was started with a name called Multics by three companies jointly in 1965. Those three companies were AT&T, GE, and MIT. So these three companies jointly started a project with a name called Multics. So after working for 4 years, they were not getting the desired result. So these two companies, G and MIT, decided to quit from the project. So who is left out? Only AT&T. So they continued the same project, but they changed the project name from Multics to what? Unix, because earlier it was worked by multiple. Now only AT&T was working. So they changed the project name from Multics to Unix, and this project is taken up by Kem Thompson. And another name is missing there. That name is what? Dennis Ritchie. Have you heard about the Dennis Ritchie? So these two gentlemen from the AT&T company took that project. Kem Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Who is Dennis Ritchie? Yes, who is Dennis Ritchie? Any idea? Any person who is working on the software? Uh, he he is called the founder of the C language. Yes, I got the answer from Deepchan. Yes, he is the founder of the C language. So you should say he is the father of C language, not Linux. Linux is not designed by Dennis Ritchie. So Unix is been to design this Unix. The project was taken by Kem Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie is the founder of the C language in 1969. And from this project only, this gentleman developed a new operating system, which we today call with what name? Unix. So Unix is an operating system completely written in C language, and it was released in which year? 1973. So at that time, do you have the Windows operating system? Whether the Windows operating system was there at that time in 1973? No, it was not there. So like today, maximum people are using which operating system? Maximum people are using which operating system today? Windows. So there was a time in 1970s, even in early 80s, maximum people were using what? Unix in 70s and early 80s. So any advantage you heard about the Unix? Windows came in 1985 officially. Yes, Windows came officially in 1985. So any advantage you heard about the Unix? What is the advantage with the Unix? Unix is an operating system, command based. So any advantages was there? Yes, Rajesh is very accurate with the answer. Yes, compared to the Windows also or other OS, Unix used to be very secure. So there was a time in 70s or 80s, maximum companies their servers were working on Unix because the security of the Unix was used to be very good. This is the advantage. But any drawback with the Unix, once the Windows was launched, many of the users who were using Unix, they migrated to Windows. So what was the problem in the Unix? Yes, first problem, it is completely command based, means there is no GUI, graphical interface, and it is not user friendly, completely command line. Apart from that, one more drawback with the Unix was Unix is called Unix is called proprietary based operating system. What do you mean by proprietary based operating system? Is that in simple word you can say Unix is a Unix is a hardware dependent OS. Unix is a hardware dependent OS. Means which company design it, on that company only, on that company hardware only it will get installed. So to explain you, we can see the next slide. So can I go to the next slide? Okay. So here the drawback of the Unix is first no graphical interface. Second problem is AT&T designed the original Unix. After some time they developed release a better version. Like in Windows, they'll release the versions. No, first they started XP, Vista, something. Now Windows 7, 10. These are the client version. Same way the server version. Same way they release what a version with the name called System 365. So this was having better features compared to the original one. But this 365 operating system of the Unix can be installed only on whose machine? AT&T. So at that time there was no competition to them. So by this they earn a lot of money. Because if you want their OS, you need to purchase their hardware. So by seeing this, how much money they are earning, the other vendors also decided to design their own Unix. So the sun came. They designed what Solaris. Out of this Unix, this one became very popular, Solaris. But Solaris can be installed only on which machine? Sun Microsoft machine. Now the Sun has been taken over by whom? Now the Sun machine is now not existing. It has been taken over whom? By the Java. No, not Microsoft. Java has taken over the Sun Microsoft. Yes, I think Oracle. Oracle, sorry. Oracle people have taken over the Solaris. Oracle company has taken over the Solaris. Yes. So now the Solaris can be installed only on Sun machine. Same way, IBM designed their Unix with what name? AIX. Same way, AIX can be also installed on IBM. HP designed HPUX. That can be installed only on HP machine. So it is an advantage or disadvantage? Big disadvantage. Because if you are changing the OS because of the project, say suppose you have to change the whole hardware, which is a very expensive affair. So imagine if 10 machine in your company need to change the OS, means 10 machine you have to need purchase, which will be lakhs of rupees. But so this disadvantage, Microsoft vendor or the proprietor like Bill Gates, he studied this drawback and he worked on a concept. I should design a OS which will provide the graphical interface plus my OS should be hardware independent. So these two main features he introduced. So the people find these two features very attractive. First, graphical interface. Second, it is a hardware independent. Means if I am using Dell machine, another person HP, another the assembled machine, anybody can install the Windows OS. So that's why in very short duration of time, Windows became the number one. Captured most of the market. Even the companies who were using the servers on their Unix migrated to the Windows. So literally, 60 to 70% of the world computer at one time was using only Windows. So what these Windows people did, since there was no competition, then they started hiking their license key fees very often. They started hiking their license key fee very often. So one gentleman thought that the people who might be using the Windows, who might be using the Windows, might be interested in using some other operating system, but the better options were not available. And at the same time, the Unix was literally dying. Only few people were using because of the security. So one gentleman thought he should design a new OS which should be based on Unix and it should be free from this drawback, no graphical interface or hardware dependent. So using this concept, the gentleman designed a new OS. That OS we are today calling with what name? Linux. I heard most of the people saying it also is what Linux, especially the people who are from the outside India. They'll pronounce Linux. As an Indian, most of them we pronounce Linux. So I'm also habituated with saying Linux. I don't know it is correct or not, but there are two ways people pronounce it, Linux and Linux. So who's that gentleman you know who designed this Linux operating system or Linux operating system? Any idea? Anyone? Okay. His name is what? You can see here. So in 1990, person with a name called Linus Torvald. His name is what? Linus Torvalds. He is from France. Sorry, not France. Sorry, he is from Finland, a small country in Europe. So he was not working for any company. He was just finished his graduation. So like Bill Gates, he is very talented person. So what he did, he took the Unix source code. Taking that Unix, he designed a new operating system. And after designing this operating system, so operating system is what? It's a physical thing or logical? Operating system. Is it physical or logical? Logical. So operating system is a collection of programs which a developer will create or write. That is also called technically source code. So this person designed a new operating system called Linux. So to design this operating system, he written some program, some source code. So generally that source code or the program, whichever person design or develop it, will not show to the others. But what this person did after writing this program, he given that program to one organization called OSF, Open Source Foundation. So these people, what they did, put that program which the Linus Torvald written on the internet, which anybody can access and modify it. So that's why the Linux is referred with what name? Open source. So now I repeat the meaning of open source. Open source means where the source code of that operating system is freely available, which anybody can access and even can modify. You can add or make some changes to that source code. Thereby, you can create your own OS. That's why Linux is called as what? Open source operating system. So can you see the source code of the? No. Can you modify the Windows program? Can you design using that your own Microsoft? No, it is not permitted. But in Linux, there is no such restriction. So he don't want any license key issue. He don't want any restriction. So for that purpose, this Linux Torvald given it to the OSF. OSF people put it what? Whatever coding or the program the Linus Torvald has written to design this Linux, they put it on the internet, which anybody can access and they can also modify it. So that's why the Linux got the name open source operating system. So the source code is freely available, which anybody can access it and modify it. Thereby they can design their own OS. So that is the reason in Linux we have number of operating system Linux based. Not one, many are there. So can you give one or two names? Anybody, if you are aware about? So here, this penguin represent what? The official logo. The official logo of Linux is what? Penguin. Same way, the official logo of Windows is what? Window. Four square is nothing but window. So yes, I'm getting the names. From Ram, I got one name. Ubuntu. Somebody is using the code 852 Red Hat. Yes, Kali. CentOS. Yes, these are the different. Why it is possible? In Windows you don't have. In Linux it is there. Why? Because Linux is an open source operating system. Because anybody can take the source code of the Linux 12. They have to add certain things. They have to make some modification. As it is, you cannot put it. Yes, Fedora, Centro, Kali, Ubuntu. Yes, these are all Linux flavors designed by different companies. They are all Linux based operating systems. So using the source code of the Linux Torvald, you can add or make some changes. You need to add some application, some changes. Then you can use your own name, your own logo. Why it is possible? Because Linux is a open source operating system. So now you can see here some of the names. These are not all the names, only some of the names. Red Hat, SUSE, Puppy Linux, Backpack, Ubuntu, Turbo Linux. One name is also there, Boss. If you want your name, that is also possible with your own logo. For that, you have to take the source code, but you should be having very good knowledge about the programming, especially the C language. Then you need to create your own application, then add it into it. Some are the other things you need to add it. Then you can call it your own OS free of cost. Then you can distribute to the others. Now, did you understood the meaning of open source? So, the what is the main difference between Windows and Linux? This feature, open source. So, Linux is a open source operating system where the source code of Linux operating system, which is designed by installed one, is freely available, which anybody can access and modify. So, because of this, we have so many flavors in Linux. So, you don't think for a minute that I'll learn all the Linux flavor and I'll do the job. Your whole life will be because it keeps on coming. Today somebody released. After some days, some other company may release it. Now, the biggest competitor to the Windows now, who is there? Biggest competition to the Windows operating system is who? Linux. Yes, Linux is spreading slowly but surely. Today, the market, the ratio or the percentage is been reduced for the Windows. Maybe at one time it might be 70 to 80%, but now it has been reduced. You can say like 60%, something like around, not exact figure, roughly I'm saying 60% might be using the Windows. About now 20-25% people are using what now? Other than like 60, if you leave Windows 60, how much is remaining? 40. Out of 40, now next competitor is what? Linux. Maybe about 20 to 25% are using Linux. Next, third one is what? Mac. Like 10 to 11% of the world computers are running on Mac. So these are the three major operating systems now in the usage. So the biggest competitor to Windows is what? Linux. So with the spreading of Linux, what has happened now? The Windows people or the Microsoft people are not frequently raising their license key because they understood the competitor is what? The Linux, which provide mostly free things. Okay? So now out of this, which one we are going to discuss now? All we cannot learn, nobody can learn. But if you learn one of the flavor, you can work on other flavor because the concept will be same. Sometimes the command may be same, sometimes it will be different. So you just can Google it. If you know the in one flavor a command for particular task, you just Google it, you'll get a command. You use that command. Oh, yes. So we are going to discuss what out of these, which one? Red Hat. Because Red Hat provides you more better features with quality support. So most of the servers, as per the Linux, they are working on Red Hat. And even the certification is there for Red Hat. So we'll be discussing our course through Red Hat. Okay. We'll concentrate on Red Hat. So Windows is a very good OS. So to give the competition to Windows as a straight away small, new company, it's very difficult. So this Red Hat, which is providing the Linux-based operating system, came into the market in '93. So they released their first OS with what name? Red Hat 1. So when a new company means when you want to promote your business, your product rate should be less. Then only people will come. So what they did, just like Geo, they released their operating system free of cost and they distributed their OS on the public places. This is free, please use it. So when it is free, more people may accept it because the people or the customer think I have nothing to lose. If it is good, I'll use it. If it's not, I'll throw it. So they distributed their first OS, Red Hat 1, free of cost. Then took the people's suggestion, what we should do, how to make it better. So they slowly added some better features in different versions, like Windows people keeps on doing. Then after Red Hat 1, they released Red Hat 2 with some more better features. Then Red Hat 3, Red Hat 4, like this. So they continued up to like what? Red Hat 9, completely free of cost, completely free. But can the company run on a one person? No. Company means multiple people will be working, need to work. So if everything is free, why the people are working in the company? If anybody is working, why you are working? Can I get the answer? Or if you are looking for job, or in the future you want to work, yes, that is the correct answer. Only one answer is correct. That is money. Everybody work only for money, and all other answers like to serve for interest purpose, all are those answers. As for me, it is rubbish. People work only for money. If they are not getting the money, will you work? Nobody will work. So if if a company is not able to generate the money, can that company survive? Or it will collapse. Even if it is a Bill Gates, even if it is a Mukesh Ambani, if they are giving everything free, they need to close one day the company. So this Red Hat company also understood we cannot do this forever, but people started using their OS. So once they understood that some people started using this, then they stopped their free version. After that, now they are releasing their OS in two categories. One is they are calling free edition, the other edition they are calling as what? Commercial. So in free edition, now they are using the OS with what name? Fedora. And in the commercial, they are using the series name called RHEL. RHEL stands for what? Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So in this, now they are using the series name RHEL 1, 2. Now, what is the latest one now in the RHEL? Presently in the market, RHEL 7. Now, even 8 is introduced, but still the certification might be there for 7. 8 is also there. Latest one is RHEL 8. But whatever features you have in the 8 will be there in the 7. So we'll be focusing on what? Our, we are focusing mostly on basic Linux because you should know multiple operating system knowledge. So minimum you should know a little bit of Linux. That's why they introduced in the MCSE course also Linux. Because with this MCSE you should get at least also some little bit knowledge of Linux. So now we'll be focusing on what? RHEL 7. So, but this RHEL 7, what is the difference between commercial and free edition? So, as the name indicates, free edition means completely free. But in the commercial, it is not free. But the Linux came with what intention? Freedom from license issue. But now the company cannot run on free concept. So they need to balance it. So these Red Hat people come with that one good thought, thought process to run their company or to run their business. So what they are saying, our OS is free, but we are charging for the commercial edition like RHL 1, RHL 2, up to 7. They are charging. Why? Because if you want to use our OS is free, but we are charging. Why? Because if you use our genuine OS by paying us, if you get any problem in the future while using this OS, we will provide you the technical support, technical assistance. So with this option, they started generating the money. And at the same time, like in the Windows, they had the certification. With that, they generate money. So they also started doing that. So for RHL, we have two papers, RSCSA, RSCE. So first paper, if you clear, you are called Red Hat Certified System Administrator. If you clear the second paper, it is called RSCE, Red Hat Certified Engineer. And in this, they are keeping what? No support. Means in Windows, we can find some support. If you want to write yourself, you can write, but some support is also available. In the RHL case or Red Hat case, no support. You have to write your own paper. No support. But they need money. So what they are doing? They are keeping their papers similar. Means the Prometic Center will have the dumps. So what question came from which they kept the syllabus same and the questions also similar. So from say suppose group administration one question came. Tomorrow also same question will from same syllabus same question will repeat. Only the numbers will change. Scenario will be same. So that's why the Prometic centers will say 100% guarantee pass because they'll train you certain days and they'll take they'll take what? The mock test. In that they can understand. Then they'll tell you, you can register for the fees, you can write the exam. Okay. So we'll concentrating on what? RHL 7. But this they are charging. Why? For support. But we are doing this course for training purpose. So we doesn't need any support. So there is an option. The option we can use. What is that option? In place of RHL 7, we can use what? CentOS 7. What is CentOS 7? I'll explain to you. Now, We are going to discuss our course RHL 7 through CentOS 7. Both are exactly same. You can ask anybody, even the Prometic Center. I'm preparing myself on CentOS 7. Can I write the exam for this? That's the exact same. Why? Because this has been designed by the Red Hat, which is called RHL stands for what? Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 7. So this has been designed by the Red Hat. So it is an enterprise edition. So compared to Fedora version and enterprise edition, which OS will be better or with more features? Enterprise edition. So if Fedora will not have many features, in one OS they'll not give, and that Fedora might be suitable for home purpose, not for the industry purpose. So for industry purpose, this is suitable, enterprise. So the same features you will find in the CentOS. What is CentOS now? So this company cannot give free because the company has to generate the money. They need to give the salary to the people who are working for them. So they kept what? These two editions. And simultaneously they are running some other businesses like the certification. Now they also have what? The Tomcat Apache under them. Now the latest news is what? The RHL has been taken over by whom? Any idea? Anybody? The RHL, Red Hat company is taken over by whom? CentOS is not a CentOS, I'll explain you, not taken by CentOS. CentOS first let me explain, then I'll answer the question. Who has taken over the Red Hat now? CentOS means what? CentOS stands for what? C means here. C stands for community. What community? Community means what? Group of people. A group of Linux experts who are working in different companies as a Linux expert. They form one association or one community with the name called CentOS, where C means community, ENT means enterprise, OS means operating system. So here, these people who are working in different companies as Linux experts, their intention is what? The Linux should expand. So what they are doing, they form one association and they took the permission from the Red Hat. Whatever OS they are releasing, they want to copy it, not for business purpose, for the public users. So that Linux will be freely available to them. Because Linux came with what intention? Freedom from licensing. So they are also keeping, Red Hat people are also keeping their OS open source. So these people are copying their source code and releasing with this name, CentOS. For RHL 1, they released CentOS 1. For RHL 2, CentOS 2. Now for RHL 7, CentOS 7. Features will be there. But only one difference. In this, there is no support. No support. They will not offer you any support. But everything is free. Same features of this. No support. So if you get any problem while using this, you have to manage yourself. Red Hat people also will not give support. Red Hat people will give support only for if you buy their genuine OS. So in this, it is not free. What is the difference? It is not free, but it is free. It is free, but no support. But here it is not free, but they'll provide you the technical support. So this is the difference between RHL and CentOS. Apart from that, everything is same. Understood? So we are discussing our course through RHL 7. That course RHL 7 through CentOS 7. Understood now? The installation, command, everything will be same. Support which time means whenever you get any problem, 24/7, they'll provide you the support, Red Hat people. So now Red Hat company has been taken over by no time till when 1 year validity will be there. So after 1 year, you have to renew it. Yes, support will be like for one year. You have to renew it. Okay. Now, now, who has taken over the Red Hat? Yes, somebody has written quite correctly. IBM. IBM has now taken over the Red Hat. Now Red Hat will be releasing their OS. Their certification also will be going on as usual. Everything will be there, but the overall control will be done by the IBM management people because they have paid Some amount means huge amount, and it has been taken over by the IBM. Now the Red Hat will be working under the IBM management. Okay? So we'll be focusing our course Red Hat. In Red Hat, which version? RHL 7 through CentOS 7. Everything will be same except the support is okay. So now let us go with the features. What are the features we have in the Linux operating system? So it is open. First feature of Linux is what? It is open source. Open source means the source code is freely available, which anybody can access and modify. So that's why we have so many flavors in Linux. Second features, like Windows, we can also do multiple tasks at the same time. Linux provides multiple tasking, same like Windows. Then Linux also provides what? Multiple user to log in. In Windows, we are logging by switching the users. But in Linux, when you install the Linux OS, you will get default 6 virtual console. So it means 6 different users can log in simultaneously without logout. Simultaneously you can log in. So that's what. So that's why you can call Linux as open source, multitasking, multi-operating system. Multiple users can log in without logout at same. Next, Linux, like Windows, has been made hardware independent. So that feature here is called portability. Portability. Portable means like it has been designed using the Unix, but in Unix it was a hardware dependent. But Linux has been made hardware independent because you cannot survive by keeping your OS hardware dependent in today's tough competition. So like Windows, Linux is also been made hardware independent. So whatever machine I have now, I can install the whether Dell, HP, Lenovo or assembled machine, anything, any machine I have, I can install the Linux, same like Windows. So that feature is called portability. Next, next, scalability. What do you mean by scalability? In Linux, they are not releasing the OS in two categories. Like in Windows, they are releasing their OS in two categories, server and client. But in Linux, they are releasing their OS in single category. So there is no separate OS for client purpose or server purpose. So single OS or same OS you can use like a server and client. So please don't ask in Linux to anybody. I know server OS in Linux, or you know about the server OS or client OS in Linux. Because in Linux there is no separate server OS or client OS. Only they kept a single OS, which you can use like as per your requirement. Either same OS you can use like a server or client. No separate OS. So that feature we are calling scalability, simplicity. Next one is what? Reliability. So it has been found compared to the Windows, Linux provides better service in terms of running time. So in Windows today also for certain services, when the service is installed, we need to reboot like ADDS. So when the system production server means you need to add the services, keeps on adding some services, not every day, regularly. So when you add some service, if a production server get restarted, means when it is rebooting during that time, that service will be not available to all the users who are using that service. But in Linux, we will never restart the machine. We will always restart the service. So there will be less downtime compared to the Windows in Linux. So that's why today more servers are working on Linux compared to the Windows. Overall in the world, I'm saying. I'm not saying all servers, but many servers now today are running on Linux because of this feature. Secure, reliability, as well as the security. Last but most important. So every operating system comes with what? Inbuilt security. Like in Windows, we have firewall. So in Linux also, they are maintaining the tradition of Unix. Unix is popular for security. So same tradition they are carrying forward. In Linux also, you have very good security. So they are introduced what? The firewall, same like Windows. In addition to that, they introduce some extra security like IP table through which we can filter which one should be allowed or which one should be blocked. And in addition to that, they introduce one more extra security called SC Linux, Security Enhanced Linux, which makes Linux more secure than Windows also. So these are the some of the important features of Linux operating system. Okay, done. So today we discuss what is Linux, its introduction part. Now next part is what? Installation. So I think the time is over. So today I'll not proceed with the installation. So if you want to refer any depth knowledge about the Linux, these are the freely books available in the internet. You can download any one of these. Don't download all the three. You cannot read. Okay, somebody said previous slide. Please see this. These are the features. Please take a snapshot. Then I'll go to the next one. So today I'll continue with the installation. Tomorrow I'll continue. Tomorrow either I'll take WDS or VPN, and we'll continue with the Linux. So if anybody is interested, you can download any one of these books for your depth knowledge as per the Linux. So tomorrow we'll see Linux, the structure of the Linux along with the installation. That we will see tomorrow. Okay. So that's it for today. Which version of the Linux we are using means I told you, no, we are discussing Red Hat, under that Red Hat RHEL 7. So that we are going to discuss through CentOS 7. Yes. So that's it for today. So those installation we'll see tomorrow. So that's it for today. Thank you everybody. Take care of yourself. Thank you everybody. Then we'll continue tomorrow Linux as well as Windows. Okay. Those who are having the doubts, you can stay. You can write your doubts on the chat box. So once again, I'm thanking everybody. Tomorrow we'll continue with Linux topic as well as Windows topic. Okay, that's it. But thank you everybody. Now those who are having doubts, you can ask. Portability. Portability means what? Portability means what? I'm not going away. You can take your own time and try it. Portability means what? Now Linux has been made hardware independent. So it doesn't require any hardware portability issue with the Unix. So we install particular flavor of the Unix, we require particular hardware. Like to install AIX, I need the hardware of IBM machine only. Then only in IBM machine only the AIX will get installed. This used to get installed only on Sun Microsoft machine. In the HP machine, only HP UX can be installed. So these are called hardware dependent. Portability means now it is made hardware independent. So you have Lenovo machine, or you have Dell machine, or you have HP machine. On that you are able to install Windows. The same way now you can able to install Linux. That is what I mean to say portable.